let's start with the sort of most dramatic game of the weekend, which was for an incredibly low-scoring game. I thought really compelling to watch throughout, the Seahawks and the Vikings.
Wrong paper.
So obviously, you know, if we were to do a Turks and Jerks segment, it would be hard not to make Blair Walsh.
Make Jeff Locke. How do you make? See, the problem with making Blair Walsh the immediate jerk is what you were going to say.
Yeah, I mean, people he would probably win that ballot.
I think he would. I think it's slightly unfair considering Blair Walsh is also the only reason they had points. So yeah, he missed the one that matters, obviously. So he's the jerk. But
the league this year on kicks 27 yards and under, 189 and 2.
And how many
now,
of those came
now 189 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, also you're kicking a rock.
Yeah, so that's what we didn't talk about enough while we were there, is that it seems pretty clear that the cold makes a difference on that. And Locke said it in explaining away, in explaining that having the laces turned the wrong way is exacerbated in the cold. It was the wrong situation at any time. It's particularly wrong in the cold because the ball doesn't compress at all in the cold. Like you say, you are kicking a rock. Usually you get your foot into it, the ball's going to dent and move in, and it just doesn't do that when it's cold, Locke was saying, and so that added to it, and then so the laces make a bigger deal. You wouldn't imagine that the laces turn the wrong way normally on a 27-yard field goal is really going to make any difference. And he had the laces wrong on one of the other field goals too.
You've seen Ace Ventura, correct?
I've seen it, but I don't recall whether.
So in Ace Ventura, the whole reason that the Dolphins lost the Super Bowl in this fictional universe is because Ray Finkel put the laces.
Put the laces the wrong way.
So it's the whole laces out, Dan. There was a couple Vikings fans videos that made the internet go crazy, as well as a bunch of memes and tweets. Then we'll get back into the other stuff. So it begins with Vikings fan number 1, which is video number 1, teaching Blair Walsh how to kick a 27-yard field goal.
You like that? You like that? Blair Walsh! It was that easy!
Guys, by the way, that kick would have been blocked by the helmet of the long snapper. That was so low. That would have hit the nose tackle of the Seahawks in the face mask without jumping. He just would have looked up and the ball would have slammed him in the face.
Likely true. The second video, then I think you'll like because there's a dog involved.
Nobody kicks the dog, right?
You fucking piece of shit!
That's a good dog.
Just making sure his owner didn't die.
Yeah, I've been there. I have been there, no question. I tend not to, I don't literally get personal. I just get devastated.
Yeah, it hurts.
I mean, watching the A's in Game 5, there's a fair amount of falling forward out of a chair onto the ground.
I watched, last year alone, I watched Wisconsin Badgers basketball, which I've been a longtime fan of because my father, I watched them lose the national championship game, followed by watching the Mets losing 5 games in the World Series.
Right.
In which every game was falling off my chair in devastation, except for Game 3. The third Vikings fan, if you're at a bar with in a local bar, especially in Minnesota, this is likely the reaction that everyone else was given.
Now watching.
So he couldn't watch. Turns around, takes the video, and obviously by the reaction of the crowd.
Yeah. Well, we have video. We were in Las Vegas. We were in a suite in the Bellagio, which a friend of ours had rented, which was nice. We watched the first game there, and first game on Sunday there, and our friend Cenk Uger had laid a wager on the Vikings on the money. He had them to cover at plus 4.5. I think he got.
That's how low it went?
Yeah, it went to 4. It was 4 Saturday night, but I think it was 4.5 at kickoff. And he got the bet at 4.5, but he also had the Vikings to win at plus 180. And Cenk, you know, when he's in Vegas, Cenk is not when he's in Vegas, he bets big. Yeah. So he'd already won. He was going to win some money because they were going to cover, but he was looking at a huge day. And all Blair Walsh had to do was kick that field goal. But Cenk understands that these are men and athletes are human. you know, and they make mistakes, and you can see Jenk's appreciation for the human condition in his reaction.
You said any odds.
No, I said any good odds.
Oh! Are you kidding me? Fuck!
You're kidding! You're kidding!
Damn it!
That is absolutely
That's
inexcusable.
why you take the touchdown.
It's not the laces. He hit it with the laces the wrong way the last time. That does not matter. Not at this distance.
5-yard field goal.
Exactly. Not at this
What
distance.
the fuck? What was that? Was that even a 30-yarder?
Yeah, so he didn't break anything, but things were thrown. There was slamming. There was doors slamming. He left the room for a while. There was a significant amount of yelling, and then began a long conversation about how long it would take him to fire Blair Walsh. Not cut. The word was fire the whole time. You're fired. You're fired right now. You're fired right now.
That guy is so fucking fired. Like, what the fuck? You can't make that? I mean, the whole point of your existence is to make that fucking field goal. It is definitely true. That is nothing but a joke.
He had a rough year, so
That's not. No, he's fired.
But also the punter.
Fired.
It didn't matter. Stats. We get a guy made the most field goals in the league this year. His percentage. He had a very bad year.
Also, the overwhelming amount of players on Twitter that came out, not just players on Twitter, but like the amount of analysts that were saying he's like a great guy in the locker room. At least he put it on himself. He didn't blame anybody. He didn't blame Jeff Locker.
That speaks well of him, but
so
that
they don't
doesn't
fire that guy.
Well, being the nice guy in a
Not
league.
the nice guy element, just the fact that it was 0 degree. You got to give some benefit of the doubt to the 0 degree weather. No, you got to make that field goal. The season.
So
can't
Jenk's
end like
not here
that.
today. He was going to be here today at a meeting. So
he'd be
he would
screaming
say,
at me.
no, you don't. You don't have to make that allowance. This is a zero-sum game. There are winners and losers. Everybody's a loser unless you win, so you're a loser. You can't have it. No, I disagree with it. But that said, if you look at the list of kickers who have made the horrific postseason failures, the Billy Cundiffs, the
Ryan
Doug
Anderson.
Bryans, Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson was late in his career, but you look at, but that was it. It kept the
He
Vikings
never
out of the
missed.
Super
He
Bowl.
was like 2 years without missing.
He hadn't missed that year, yeah. So Doug Bryan, Nate Kading, Billy Cundiff. I'm forgetting another one in addition to Gary Anderson. These colossal misses in the postseason. Those guys basically were out of football within a couple of years. Like, first of all, they weren't grade A kickers. Kading had been a pretty good kicker in San Diego,
Gary Anderson.
but Gary Anderson had been kicked. Gary Anderson was almost 40 years old at the time that he ended up missing that kick, so he didn't have much time left anyway. But so, like, you got to see, like, next year, I imagine they'll have some competition for Blair Walsh. He had a terrible preseason this year. What's interesting is that they kept him because he had a terrible preseason this year. Scott Norwood, of course, the other colossal miss in the postseason. And Norwood was largely out of football shortly thereafter. I'm saying it would appear, that's a very limited sample size, but it might be psychologically difficult for a kicker to come back from this. It's
Understandable.
possible. So, but Kading had a disastrous preseason. I think he missed 4 of 6 kicks in the preseason. I read a lot of stuff. And he had a really bad year last year. You know, he's been up around 87, 88% every year in the league. They took him, I think, in the 6th round, the Vikings did. And he was good his rookie year. He hit a ton of deep kicks. He was pretty good his second year. And then he hit 74% last year. He missed a ton of field goals last year. And then bounced back and had another really good year this year. Again, led the league in field goals. He'd kicked 3 field goals in that weather. Including 2 pretty long ones.
47, 43, and 22.
Yeah, 2 long ones. You know, everything over 40 in that weather felt bad, and then he kicks the 20. And then he just missed it. But Jenk was adamant that he should be fired, and that was our conversation that then the group of guys who was there, we had pretty much for the
the
rest of the day.
You said Kading when you went on to the conversation about Walsh. You meant Billy Walsh before the comments section.
What?
Gets after you. You said Nate Kading had a bad preseason.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
You meant
Blair Walsh.
I say Billy Walsh. Blair Walsh. Billy Walsh is from Entourage. Regardless, some tweets real quick, and then I want to tell you, Ben, why the Seahawks are going to beat the Panthers next weekend. So Jeff Locke's Wikipedia page immediately got changed, and I mean immediately. He was never taught how to hold a ball for field goals. Which is pretty funny. This is the best one I think I saw, which is, have you been watching Making a Murderer?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so making a field goal was a quick joke to be made. There's Michael Jordan, that's always there, crying at the Hall of Fame ceremony. It's like the biggest shared meme or tweet every time something happens.
Wow.
2 Steve Harvey ones. It's good, Vikings win.
That's funny.
And there's another one.
Yeah, I saw that one. It's too many icons.
Too many things going on?
Too much happening.
And then, of course, there was 2. I grabbed 2 of the athletes. Roddy White and Larry Fitzgerald both came out and just said that they feel bad for the guy. Damn, I feel bad for Blair Walsh.
Fairly nice.
Damn.
Okay. Damn. I feel, yeah, that was an amazing miss. It was just amazing because they'd driven so close. And of course, you know, Peterson, we were debating whether the Seahawks should let them score. if they got the first down. If Peterson broke through, got the first down, they should definitely have let him score.
Well, yeah.
Except they shouldn't have, because that field goal there's no distance at which that field goal would have been good. You know, that field.
Well, that's true.
Like you could have been 5 yards into the end zone, and that field goal was
Well,
not.
it would have gone under the goalpost.
No,
Regardless.
I'm saying once, as long as you leave enough distance to clear the goalpost, it was that way. It was no spot you could have put that ball where it goes through the uprights.
So the last tweet that I'll throw in post for everybody, Bill Barnwell, writer for X of Grantland now, just ESPN.com, he tweeted out, and I think this is a great point, if you were Russell Wilson and these things kept happening to you, you would start to believe in the things that Russell Wilson believes in, because, I mean, man, look, they're moving on. But the reason why I think the Seahawks beat the Panthers next weekend, or at least keep it as my bet with Dan now, within that 3-point line, is because I feel, and I don't know the numbers on it, as a terrible Jew, as you would say, I feel like the recency bias has bit so many people in the ass, and no, they didn't look good against the Vikings.
but
And there was a botched play that Russell Wilson turned into a miracle that ended up being a touchdown.
yeah, he turned it into a miracle because he's great.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing: Panthers played the Seahawks, and the Panthers did beat the Seahawks in Seattle, right? And it was a close game, and it was on a last-second touchdown.
They had to score late in the fourth quarter twice.
I would find it very hard to believe that the Seahawks go into Carolina and lose by a lot of points, let alone
double-digit Panther win next week.
You think undoubtedly double-digit Panther win?
They lost that game. That game was lost, and the tendency. Jank thought it. He was
but
like,
that's why. But that's recency bias. That's just
but
because
it's a
one bad game. Look at the Packers and the Redskins.
You're misunderstanding recency bias, because in addition to, yes, it's one, but also the game week before they were totally dominant, and the feeling is they're blessed. They can't lose, and with a good team like the Seahawks, the recency bias will also will include some variation of, oh, you had a chance to knock the best team in football out and you didn't, and now they're going to steamroll. But the fact of the matter is,
well, I don't think steamroll, but yes.
Well, I mean,
Go on.
any win over the Panthers in Carolina counts
as steamroll.
Jason,
Okay, I won't fight it. I won't fight it.
saying
Just finish your point. Finish your point.
So there will be a thought that you can't beat the Seahawks, that they're unbeatable. And the fact of the matter is they played poorly. They only scored a touchdown because of a miracle, as you say, botched play that turned into a great play by maybe the most intuitive quarterback in the league. He not only caught that snap, went to the knee, looked up, saw Captain Munnerlyn coming too hard. He mapped that out. He was like, oh, I can turn this into something, because he's an incredibly smart player.
Yeah.
But there will be a lot of people on the Seahawks thinking that, oh, you had a chance to knock them out and you didn't, and now they'll come back and play really well. And the truth of the matter is, this is an 11-6 team that occasionally dominated, but 2 weeks in week 16 lost to the Rams at home. This is not a great football team. This is an okay football team. They are away from home where they're dominant, and they're playing a team that dominated all year. The Panthers should be a 4 or 5 point favorite in this game.
Hey,
and it's only
look,
3.
you want to give me more points? I'll take more points.
No, but I mean, get on the Panthers. They're going to win.
I'm on the Seahawks, man. I'm on the Seahawks. I picked them to go back to the Super Bowl anyway, so I got to ride with them. Either way, the only flaw in your logic right there, Ben, was all last week. The Packers, man. The Packers are a 3-7 team. They don't look good. They're not I've never seen a more unanimous bet. And that's that's part of the reason.
Well, I mean, first of all,
why I can't look at this game and go, you know what? They look bad. I'm going to take the Panthers because the
Packers are a public team. The money was pretty even there on the Packers and Washington.
I also think
look. Here's what we learned also about Washington. That turns out that division was terrible.
Oh, 100%.
And they're not that good. I mean, they did nearly everything wrong that mattered to do wrong, that you judge quality football teams by. 2 things you have to judge a quality football team by. Do they protect their quarterback, right? If you're a throwing team, and Washington is, the running game never got going this year, even though it appears they have 2 or 3 good backs.
Depth.
The running game never got going. They did not protect Kirk Cousins at all, and then he became afraid to throw the ball. I think he was so terrified of a turnover. He made a couple of decisions that were incredibly consistent with a guy who inexplicably took a knee at halftime of the Eagles game. I mean, he was like, he's taking sacks on 4th down. Like, hey, man, you throw it to Pierre Garçon, give it a shot. Like, you're down 14, there's 5 minutes to play, you got to throw the ball. You can't turn the ball over on downs. But the game was largely over at that point, and they could not stop the run. You can't protect your passer and you can't stop the run. You're not good. That's it. Your best bet scenario is to win shootouts. Aaron Rodgers stepped up, and the Packers, who played like a 3-7 team the last 10 games, they were 4-6, should have been 3-7. they look totally different because they ran the ball and they got to the quarterback, and then you look like world beaters. Arizona and Carolina are going to cover and win next week.
I
easily.
believe that about Arizona, yes.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. So comment below, subscribe.
Here's Walsh lining up for. Are you kidding me? It's Christmas in Seattle. It's
Christmas in Minnesota.
Christmas in Minnesota. Seattle call. The season cannot end this way.